Okay, so moving ahead in the lesson, we're going to be finding some perimeters or areas on the coordinate plane. So in this next example, I give you a triangle with these vertices. So first thing I would say, I know I'm finding the perimeter, but I would want to graph each of those vertices and then find the perimeter. So J is the point 1, 6. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's vertex J. 6, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to match up with K. And then 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That'll be vertex L. And I'm going to connect those with their sides. So perimeter would be adding up the lengths of all the sides. So it might be helpful to know how to find those lengths or those distances. So the easiest one I would say is JK. I can just count. JK is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Now the other two, we've got to think back to our distance formula. So if I'm going to find JL, if we remember that distance formula, x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1, and I'm using J and L right now. So if I'm doing x2 minus x1, that will be 3 minus 1 squared plus y2 minus y1, 2 minus 6 squared. Okay? So for that would become the square root of 2 squared plus negative 4 squared. That would become the square root of 2 squared is 4. Negative 4 squared is 20. Negative 4 squared is 16. So that would be 4 plus 16, which that would be 20. And the square root of 20 is about, and I'll get that to you in a second, the square root of 20 is about 4.47. So that's the length. That's the length of JL. So we've got two lengths, and maybe I'll do the next one in a different color to keep things straight for you. So we've got two of the lengths. I need to find one more. So I'll do that next one in, let's say, red. So I got to find, I got JK, I got JL. I got to find LK now, or KL. And that's, again, distance formula. So if I'm doing x2 minus x1, 3 minus 6 squared plus, and then y2 minus y1, 2 minus 6 squared. So that turns into negative 3 squared plus negative 4 squared. And it's remembering when we square these, they become positive. Negative 3 squared is 9. Negative 4 squared is 16. 9 plus 16 is 25. The square root of 25 is 5. So I found all three lengths of that, or lengths of the sides of those triangles. I just add those lengths together to get my perimeter. So 5 plus 4.47 plus 5, the perimeter is going to end up being 14.47, and I'm just going to say units, all right? Units for that one. So we've got to retain some of this stuff because they do come back. These concepts do build. These lessons do build on each other, all right? So I'm going to have another example of that later on to give you a better feel for more distance formula, just to review that a little. Next example I'm going to give you, you're using a roller coaster to smooth the lawn. You can roll about 125 square yards in 1 minute. About how many minutes does it take to roll a lawn that is 120 by 75? So a lot of these, it's nice, at least for me, to draw some sort of diagram. And if it doesn't help you, it doesn't help you. There's other strategies you can have, but I like drawing some sort of diagram to give me an idea. So using that roller, you know, I'm going up and down that lawn and rolling every square foot of that lawn. So when I think about this, I can roll 125 square yards in 1 minute. Keyword square yards, or key term square yards there. How many minutes does it take to roll a lawn that's this big? Well, it might be helpful to find that area. So first I'm going to find the area because I know I'm dealing with square yards. So I want to know how much area I've got to cover. So 120 times 75. $9,000 square yards. That's how big that lawn is. If I can roll 125 square yards in 1 minute, I want to figure out how many minutes it takes. So I would take my square yardage I have to roll and divide it by the rate I can roll it at. So 9,000 divided by 125, I can roll that lawn. It takes me about 72 minutes to roll that entire lawn, okay? So I've got an area, I've got a rate I can cover that area in. I take the area divided by that rate to find out how long it would take me. And then there's gonna be times where we're given different pieces of information. So in this example, I give you the base of the triangle, I give you the area, I need you to find the height. All right, so it's remembering area of a triangle, 1/2 times base times height. So essentially what we're doing here is we're substituting in the things that we know and then finding the measurement that we don't know. So in this case, we don't know the measurement for h, the height. So I'm going to substitute in the known values. One of the known values is area. I know that's 216. I have 1/2. I know the base is 24. And then I don't know the height, so I'm going to leave that as h. So this comes down to you simplifying and then solving this as an equation. So it's just me taking the area formula, substituting what I know, solving for what I don't know. So 216 equals 1/2 times 24 is 12. So 12h. And then to finish solving this, I divide by 12. So the height of that triangle, 216 divided by 12. The height of that triangle is 18 feet. It's very important that we remember units, all right? That we include units in our answers. So moving on, guided practice, I got 3 problems. So good chance for you to pause the video. I'll show you my answers and then kind of explain a little bit. Okay, so to explain these guided practice problems, there's kind of a lot going on here, but perimeter, I just went with the easiest one first, BC. You know, I counted between those two. I got BC was 3 units long, and then I went through AB and AC and just used my distance formula. So it's remembering how to set up and evaluate that distance formula. I took those 3 measurements, those 3 measurements I found, and I added them together to get my perimeter. 17.13 units is how much perimeter that triangle has, right? Moving ahead. The lawn from our previous example, it's half as long, half as wide. Will it take half the time? So with this one, I just shrunk the lawn using the same rate as we had before. I found the area of that lawn, that shrunk lawn, to be 2250. I took that divided by our same rate of 125 square yards a minute. It took me only 18 minutes. So to compare it to the last example of 72 minutes, I took that and divided it by 18. It was 4 times as long to roll that lawn before. So it's really 1/4 the time. So that's important because if I take the dimensions and I cut them in half, I cut the area in half by a factor of 4, or I cut the area down by a factor of 4. So it takes me a fourth the time as it did before if I take all the measurements and cut them in half. So that one's just a little more critical thinking. But in that one, it took me 1/4 of the time as it did before. And then the final one, I'm given the area I'm given the height. I'm solving for the base. So this is just a memorization of that area of a triangle formula. I got 96 as the area. The height is 8. Set up my equation, simplified it, and solved it to get the base is 24 inches. So that is what I have for area, perimeter, circumference. Now is your chance to practice this and kind of see if you can master it by the time you're ready for that checkpoint. So this time, the checkpoint is followed by a reflection. I want you guys to answer that reflection to the best of your ability. From here on out, every lesson is going to have some sort of short reflection at the end of it that I'd like you guys to complete to kind of get you thinking about how you're learning, how you're being motivated, and things I can do to help improve this class and make it more catered to what your needs are, right?